Hey everybody, Cam Bam's here, reaching out to you to give you some hints for Christmas. See, the thing is, I've got my beautiful tree. Where did I put my tree? There it is. So this is the famous Charlie Brown Christmas tree, and you really don't want to have this as your real tree, and you also don't want to screw up Christmas, especially when it comes to your woman. So I have an idea here. There's this fitness craze with these exercise bikes out, and I want to make sure nobody gets in trouble, as apparently has become fire on the internet. Okay, so now something that she's enjoyed over the years, but not used constantly, but often enough that it's become an important part of her, enjoyment of technology, is the iPad. The problem with this one, let's see if I can get this in far enough so you can see it. It's at iOS 9.3.5, and it says it's up to date. It's because this is an ancient iPad. Still works great. I mean, I guess as long as you don't break them, they still work. That said, it's time for a new one. So I wanted to make her happy and get her a new iPad. I also wanted to get an exercise bike. Partially was for myself, because I could definitely be in better shape. That said, now I was going to get the Peloton, and it's a lot of money, and it comes with a screen built in. One of the knocks against the competitor here, the copycat, I guess you would call it, the Echelon, is that the lower end models don't come with a screen, but it works with an iPad. So it kind of gave me an excuse to buy a nice new iPad for the house, mostly for her. She's got it with her right now, or I would show it to you. But also, the Echelon bike, which will work with my phone. It'll work with her iPad. It'll work with, basically whatever you can download, content with. So that said, I'm going to be putting this thing together, and I will, I guess I'll show how simple it is to put together, and then I'll, test it out and see how it goes, because I've been on a Peloton at friends, and it goes fine. I mean, I don't have any complaints with them. That's why I was thinking about buying one. But with this latest stuff, I was, maybe I want to stay away from that, because I don't want to make it look like I'm being a jerk. I'm not. I'm really not. I think I'm dying to use this thing as much as anybody in the house. So that said, let's get to doing something here. And here it is, the EX3. I didn't get the bottom of the line. I didn't get the top of the line. Got something in the middle. And I think it should be fun. It's in a big, heavy box. Carrying it upstairs was no fun. If I had to do it over again, I might have had them do it. I think it cost another like $150. Yeah, so all I've done so far here is I removed the frame that was bolted around here, and then had to pull out these little stoppers that stop the wheel from moving, and that required chopping this little piece here. So no big deal. Very simple so far. Then I just stuck on these feet, 2 bolts on each side. The wheels go in the front, not in the back. The rear feet are adjustable. I just adjusted them all the way in for now. I'll figure I'll deal with that later. And I'm just going to continue, assembling the thing. So far, I really like how it looks, though. It's a pretty handsome looking bike. Okay, so first, well, silly mistake, and first thing I'm complaining about on this, which isn't the end of the world, but silly me, I put the handlebars on this way like an old bike, but they don't go that way. They go the other way, so I gotta take this back out again and spin it around. So far, the instructions have been pretty well perfect. I just didn't follow them perfectly here. The only problem was this thing's been powder coated, and getting these bolts in here, it says to use your fingers and just finger tighten them, which would be great, except for it was impossible. So what I had to do was like put them in twice. Like if I was near my garage, I would use a thread chaser on these things, but they're fine now. I mean, I just ran the bolts up and down like twice. Now they go in pretty simply. But in the beginning, it was like I was fighting with it, and that was no fun at all. There you go. As soon as it's lined up, they go right in now. So that's not the end of the world. But we're getting there. The only other thing I should mention is the bolts. I didn't go through and like match each one up with a picture or anything. So the ones that hold on the little weight hanger thing, it's the only one where there's only two. And they're medium sized, I guess. The other ones are all 4, so there's, the 4 that go in here, and there's the 4 that go to hold the feet on. And then that pretty much does it, except for these really tiny ones. I have yet to see where they go. There we go. Okay, so I got the Echelon all put together. Wasn't difficult really at all. I didn't initially realize that you had to plug it in. So it's got a little plug that goes in the back there. And I was like, why doesn't this thing work? But it works just fine. In fact, I brought it up on this little app on the iPad. That, the multi-use iPad. So not like a Peloton, it's not locked on this thing. But it actually follows my cadence, the output in watts. Resistance is 16, which is relatively light. But if you bring it up to like 26, it's a killer. Let's just put it that way. For me, anyway. But I also got a heart monitor that'll go on the wrist. And we'll be able to tell then, exactly what's going on. So somebody had said these things are loud. I mean, I don't hear a darn thing. It's pretty much silent. But before I'm all out of breath, I'm going to hop off. Power down the Echelon app. And we'll just look at it. It's beautiful. Gotta get the weights that I hang on the back. I know I have them somewhere. But yeah, this thing, it works great. So to wrap things up, let me just say, I think this is an excellent exercise bike. I'm not positive I'm going to do the app, as they want the same $39 a month for their thing. I will probably come back and do another video to show you what I wind up picking out. These guys are just trying to make a killing monthly, and I am not a easy target for just handing over all my cash. That's kind of obvious. Otherwise, I would have just bought the Peloton bike and, well, had the fixed screen and all that other stuff. But I like this much better. I think ultimately I'm in, a couple of $100 less than I would be on a Peloton. And we've got, an iPad she can walk around with and watch movies on and do all that other stuff that you do with those. So, in any event, I know everybody's, saying, oh, you don't want one of those. It's a knockoff. It's a fake. It's, it is what it is. It's another nice exercise bike that's got, it's controlled with magnetism, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it that I can see. Everything just worked. And I find that, people that think, it's a fake. Oh, really? Then, my Android phone is a fake iPhone. Okay, you could make that argument, but they've got 60% of the market at this point. So there's a reason why, people come out with things first and then other people kind of follow along. I mean, Ford was the one that made the assembly line. Does that mean that, you shouldn't buy a Jaguar or a Mercedes or a Lamborghini? I mean, these guys have assembly lines too. They're copycats. So in any event, I, at this point, have not really ridden it much, but it's so far so good. I think the Echelon is a great buy. And the fact that you can get other gifts is nice as well, because, why hand away almost $3,000 after everything's said and done for an exercise bike that you might wind up hanging socks on? Anyway, Cam Babs out.